Hey!
And we're back.
I hope you guys don't get tired. We're on round 8 of testing.
Testing for lead in fidget spinners.
In our secret laboratory.
In Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
With our fancy X-ray gun. We're not allowed to call. Well, yeah.
X-ray.
No one's sponsoring me, so I can call it an X-ray gun. When the company sponsored my work, we couldn't. They said you can't call it a gun.
Yeah.
It's not a gun.
Hey, Thermo Scientific, you should send us an XRF.
Yes.
And we'll tell people how cool you are.
That would be great. They don't want to send us an XRF because if they asked me to never use the swabs again, and they would send me an XRF, and I said, sorry, no, I am not going to shut down one side of my advocacy work in order to use another tool.
Avoid an entire scientific method because the makers of one.
That's lobbying. That's
lame.
Corporate, craziness. That's why it's nice being an independent advocate.
Heyo.
Companies can't tell you what to do.
Unless they want to sue you.
which they can try.
Why we're raising money. So there's a link in the description of this video for Tamara's GoFundMe because we're working on raising money for her legal defense fund because companies want to shut down what we're doing. And what we're doing right now is testing fidgets. So we have... Tamara is going to use the XRF. What we're doing mostly is testing the middle bearing as well as the ones on the edge. Some of them that have interesting paint, we're testing that as well. And then in this round, we have a fidget cube. It's so cute in the middle.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
And 3 of them are from Amazon and 1 was from Walmart. We will post pictures of them and we'll be in touch with Joe. Maybe Joe can get us links from where he bought them on Amazon.
Yeah.
If in fact they are lead free.
Yeah.
This looks like the one that had that label on it that said
Not
it's
for
not
kids.
a toy. In the other video.
And this is our standing so far. So this is, let's see, we've got 14. I've got to fix that in the description. 14 that were high lead and 6 that were low lead and 10, 20, 32 that were unleaded. So there are a lot of unleaded fidget spinners on the market, but telling which ones are which is a little trickier.
Nearly impossible. Because on any other toy, you'd have like a label on the bottom with the year made.
The brand even. Most of these are not branded items. They're just made in China.
So this looks a lot like that other one that was lead-free, and it's lead-free. So I'm assuming that might be the exact same one because it looks like the same. I don't know, do we count that twice? I guess we're counting incidents. We're not counting separate different ones.
That's true.
Let's
count it.
Okay.
As unleaded. But the thing is, so this looks identical to another one, and they were both lead-free. But there was another one we tested earlier. And there was 2 that were identical, and one of them had high lead, and one of them had low lead, I think at about 300 parts per million lead, which is about 3 times the legal limit for lead in items intended for children. But there was another one that was completely unleaded, and there's no way to tell them apart because there's no brand. It's not like you can go buy, some of them you can buy a brand, but a lot of these are just, they come in like a plastic bag and it says made in China.
And so here, this one looks a lot like this one. They have the same side things. Like the same little metal insert, which is like different on this one. And they're a little different in that this one doesn't have a ridge and this one has like a square ridge on the end, so probably made from a different company with the same parts.
In a different
This one
factory.
feels kind of heavier. We had a scale. I don't know what happened to scale, but it's somewhere here. So, but this one has lead.
Oh.
And that one doesn't. So this
How
one
high
has
was that one?
Low lead,
Okay.
134 parts per million. So
Still more than it should have.
more than it should, but close to within safe range. But that's a really good example how one really looks like the other one.
Yeah, I mean, I thought these were maybe by the same company when we opened them because they look very similar. But I do see how this one has like an indent a little bit for your finger, where this one is like really flat. There's not much of an angle to that button, but that one's got like a indent for your thumb.
And the reason we're doing this is because I'm a mother of lead-poisoned children, and I do lead poisoning prevention advocacy because that's what there is to do. Educate other parents about potential sources of lead in their lives. Mostly we test dishes and consumer goods, toys, household items, cookware, because that seems to be a real concern because a lot of cookware, especially the vintage cookware, has lead. And this whole fidget spinner just like happened to us. The fidget spinner gate thing just kind of came up on us and unexpectedly. So we're doing this. It's not our job to test fidget spinners for a living. In fact, none of this is our job. But we have fun doing it, and we like helping families make safe choices for their children.
Absolutely.
So this one, again, this is similar to the other ones you were talking about that were camouflaged. One of them will have lead, one of them didn't. This one does not have lead.
Good.
And then
unleaded pile.
Two unleaded and one with
low
lead.
lead.
Low
So we'll
lead.
go ahead and mark these on here while, do you want to test the Fidget cube?
The cube.
Okay, so we've got one, the blue one, tested low lead, under 300, but still more than 90. And then we had two unleaded.
So I've done significant research about lead exposure in children in this country, and what I found, it's actually, if you reread a CDC report that I have posted up on my blog, 1 in 3 children in America today under the age of 18 has had a blood level of 2.5 or higher in their lifetime. That's 22 million children. The CDC says 535,000 children have lead exposure or lead poisoning, but they're just counting children ages 1 to 5 and only children with a blood level of 5 or higher. So they're not counting children who used to have a blood level that was higher. Like my son Avi had a blood level of 16, and he has permanent brain damage from being lead exposed, but he's not counted in the CDC statistics. And my son AJ's blood level when he was first poisoned was a 4, and so he was under a 5, and he's no longer a 4, so he's not counted. And even if we go back in time, my son Avi was 7 months old when he was poisoned, so he wouldn't be counted in the current statistics, even though he was a blood level 16, because he was under 1 year old, and the statistics only look at children between the ages of 1 and 5.
Because only kids over 1 matter.
Only,
Like, that makes no sense.
The whole thing makes no sense. And so we made these little necklaces. My son, who's now 14, who was poisoned when he was 3, made these necklaces. And I'm selling them on eBay as a advocacy outreach. We're not actually making any money selling them, but we're covering the cost. They're sterling silver, and we're creating kind of a mama tribe where each one that is bought, I send one or more for free to a mom of lead poisoned kids. And I've sent out about 17 so far, and I think we've sold about 6 of them. And so if you want to check out Tamara Rubin on eBay too, you can get one of our 1 in 3 necklaces in solidarity, and they're sterling silver on a sterling silver chain made by a really cool
lead
kid.
free.
And they're lead free. Like this Fidget cube. And this
Woohoo!
Fidget cube is, I think it's again, it's interesting because it's not labeled in the same way the others aren't labeled, but it's the same as the ones that are on the Kickstarter. So I'm assuming this is from that outrageous Kickstarter. It does all these different things. And I tested the different types of material. There's like a hard plastic, a rubbery, there's a little metal bit, and all of these were negative for lead. So these are safe.
Wonderful. And we haven't actually tested any Fidget cubes that have tested positive for lead yet. So we would like to test more.
I don't know if they're being knocked off or if they're all from the company. So that's my question. If they're all from the company and those don't have a knockoff yet, then I think those are probably safe. Plus the external components are all plastics, except for this one little bearing, which I think is like stainless steel or something. Yeah. So it's there's not a lot of opportunity for lead to sneak into that.
Yeah. So and that's good advice. That if you guys want to buy a Fidget cube, choose one from that company that did a Kickstarter. Don't buy one that's a knockoff, that's made in China that you can get for $1 with free shipping.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that comes from China.
Yeah, someone told me about that, how that works. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, we're going to test some more fidget spinners in just a minute here with this handy-dandy X-ray fluorescence spectrometer. If you want to learn more about this technology or this instrument in particular, just look up XRF on my blog. And there's also a post that specifically says an XRF for Tamara that talks about the instrument that I like and the instruments that I use and the technology in general, and has some links to the company site if you want to say, oh, well, you're not a scientist. And I'm like, yes, I'm not a scientist. I actually...
But how do you qualify who's a scientist?
You need to look up
We're doing science.
Yeah.
This is legit science.
And I have an acting degree from NYU. And I did all the coursework for a master's in nonprofit administration from USF and never finished my graduate thesis. So I'm not a scientist in that way, but I've been doing this for
I think
now
you count.
like 10 years, and I'm trained and certified in using this instrument, or maybe I've been certified, I think, for maybe 9 years. So
Tamara knows what she's doing, right? In short, she's not just some mom testing stuff at her house. The people who are critic, I mean, you are a mom and you are testing stuff, and the secret laboratory is awfully close to your house. But the things that we have critics, right? And like the idea that moms can't be scientists, like it's 2017, right? Like, who are you people? Anyway, so stay tuned. We're coming back in 5 minutes. Be on the Misled America's Secret Epidemic Facebook page, and we'll be back.